This is actin. It is attached to Z line here, and this is myosin. Myosin are filamentous. It has head. So that's why it looks like a golf club. Now when the contraction happens, what does it do is myosin head will attach to the actin, then it pulls the actin and detaches and reattaches and pulls the actin. This cycle happens. But it's not so simple. So you can imagine if the myosin head attached to the actin and it's pulling the actin on both sides. So what happens to Z line now? Z line will be coming closer, approximated. What happens to I line? Maybe disappearing. Okay. But the interaction between the myosin head and the actin, it's not so simple, because on the actin there are places on which myosin comes and binds, and these are called as myosin binding site. Now this is actin and this is the myosin head binding site, okay? Only to which myosin head binds? Normally this myosin binding site is covered with a protein called tropomyosin. You got it what I'm saying? This is myosin head and this is actin. Come in. Yes. You can break this, okay? Hold this. This is actin. This is myosin, okay? Yes or no? Yes. On the actin you have myosin binding site. Sir? Okay. Normally, if this myosin binding site is exposed, available, myosin head goes and binds. But normally it is not available. Are you in always contracted state? No, you are also in the relaxed state, right? I mean, it's a balance between that. So, myosin heads are always, myosin binding site on the actin is always covered. When it is required only, this is exposed. This is covered by another protein called tropomyosin. Okay? Tropomyosin. The tropomyosin, normally it covers like this. Has another protein to which, hold this, okay? Has another protein to this. Can you see this? This is actin binding site, myosin binding site. It is covered, and tropomyosin is associated with another protein called troponin. Troponin. How many of you are getting this or not? Forget about this. How many of you are getting this actin and myosin? Yes or no? Yes. Louder please. Okay. How many are getting this actin, myosin binding site on actin?
Yes.
No? Actin, myosin head. Myosin head only should bind to actin. That means on the actin it has myosin binding sites. When it binds, it can pull. Then the contraction happens. Normally, the myosin binding site is covered by a protein called tropomyosin. Okay? On tropomyosin, you have troponin, another protein. Troponin and tropomyosin are together. Now, how do you think, when will the myosin head comes and binds to this? Only when the tropomyosin, when it moves away, then only the myosin head come and bind to the myosin site on the actin. Do you agree with me or not? Yes. Now, what does it make tropomyosin to move away is when the intracellular calcium increases. Intracellular calcium ion comes and binds to troponin, so that the troponin now influences the tropomyosin, and myosin moves, and tropomyosin moves. Now this site is exposed, myosin head can bind. We'll enact it at come, all of you. Not all. You are there, come here. You are